Dwayne joins us now. Good to see you, Dwayne. 20 years ago, a long time, but it must feel like yesterday for you.
Well, good morning, and it does actually. When you look at 20 years and you say, well, it's 2 decades, you think that's a very long time. But for me and for the family and everybody else who's been on this journey for justice, the emotions are still there, it's all still raw, it just feels like it happened last week.
Still angry.
So we're all still angry, we're still upset, and we're disappointed that we haven't got all those that were involved in the murder locked up in prison today.
And at the time you said that you didn't trust the police as a young black man in London. How do you feel today about the police?
Well, there's been a complete kind of sea change in a sense, because I've been working with the police for the last 5 years about improving community engagement, improving services and support for victims of crime. So there's been a massive change, but it's been beneficial to everybody.
Do you trust them now? Sorry, is that, I mean, you do trust the police now? I mean, because on the front of one of the papers this morning, it does say that black police officers who are in the Met Police say that they still think it's institutionally racist. Well,
if you speak to black and Asian police officers, they will give you their experience about racism, but also if you speak to those who come under the LGBT banner, they will also talk about the discrimination. So for the last 10 years, we haven't seen a decrease in racism or discrimination. In fact, it's increased.
Do you think the black community is more open to understanding how difficult it is to be a police officer in London, or are they still not so sure about that, still don't trust the police?
Well, everybody's a bit worried about, the police service in any borough in London at this moment in time. I don't think it's a black issue, because there are lots of people who have different types of experiences with the Met. But naturally, because of the Stephen Lawrence case, we are sceptical about how we are treated. And if you look at stop and search, disproportionality, in the justice system, you're 5 times more likely to have a prison sentence. When you look at that, you do wonder what's actually happening.
And people will be surprised, I think, after what you witnessed that night, that you don't think anybody carrying a knife should be given a mandatory jail sentence.
Well, what we're seeing, and it's a trend, young people who have become victims of robbery, so they would have been robbed probably 2 or 3 times, they then carry knives to protect themselves. And they are the ones who are getting caught, and they're the ones who are getting convicted. And they're only carrying knives because they feel that's the only way to protect themselves. What we know is those gang members that use knives, they do not walk with the knives on a daily basis. They stash them somewhere and then they go and collect them when they want to harm somebody.
And finally, how do you mark 20 years? It's obviously an anniversary for the nation, isn't it? A dreadful one, but for you it's a very personal one.
It is a personal one, and today will be a very difficult day for myself and for everybody else. But what we've seen over the weekend with the tabloid headlines, I am so grateful for the outcry from the public about what The Sun has printed, their crazy headline.
About winding up the inquiry.
About winding up the inquiry.
Which you don't agree with.
I'm so grateful for the public, because what's happened now is the Met can see that nobody wants this investigation to be wound up until all those suspects are brought before the courts and convicted.
Dwayne, thank you very much indeed. Nice to see you.
Thank you.